You're welcome to Chidana Autos channel where you can learn about how to maintain your vehicle, tips on driving, and other things that will help you keep your vehicle running at every point in time. I guess you have been following my videos, and for those who have, thank you very much. For those who have subscribed, I really appreciate you. And for others who have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe so that you can get further updates on whatever it is I bring up. And I believe you must have been learning one or two things concerning your vehicle. These will help you visit your mechanic less, depending on the durability of the vehicle and some other factors that would play out. But it makes it that anytime you go to your mechanic, at least you have some key things done to your vehicle or checked as well. So as a follow-up to my other video where I talked about scheduled maintenance, today we are going to talk about unscheduled maintenance. What is actually unscheduled maintenance? These are maintenances we do without any prior or proper planning. Any inspection, adjustment, repair, removal, disassembly, cleaning, replacement of anything, components, trying to replace a fault or repair or something that we actually do without any prior planning. These are all referred to as unscheduled maintenances. And the funny thing, they are often the most expensive when it comes to vehicle maintenances and repairs because we don't plan for them, and at times when it happens, maybe at a time when our pocket is not telling us the truth. But whatever it is, we need to keep our vehicles, physically in good shape so that it can actually take us to anywhere that we desire to get to. What are some of these unscheduled maintenances that I'm talking about? It has to do with changing our brake pads and brake linings. And remember, I mentioned in my other video, it's part of what you do in unscheduled maintenances. But even before you change them, when you go for the scheduled maintenances, you need to physically inspect them. There are some other things too that we do physically inspect when we go for scheduled maintenance. It's still part of the things I'm going to mention here, but let me still state out the things that fall under unscheduled maintenance so that anytime we go for the scheduled maintenances, if we remember them, we can ask our mechanics to check them out for us so that maybe they don't malfunction at a time when it will be inconvenient for us. I've mentioned, changing brake pads and linings, servicing and adjusting your brake mechanism, changing your shock absorbers, cleaning your injector or carburetor depending on the vehicle you're using. I know that a lot of vehicles from the 80s, have started using injector. And then in the injector system, we have different types of injector systems right now. We have the electronic fuel injection, you have the direct fuel injection, and you have the dual fuel injection. There are various ways now they are bringing up, and they all do different things or perform the basic function of supplying fuel to the engine, but being done in different ways. So we still need to service it. Then you also need to from time to time, you may have to change your radiator fan or the fan electric motor. You also need to change your bushings in your front and back tires. You also need to do wheel alignment, as I mentioned earlier, at least every 3 months, depending on how bad the roads you often ply is like. Then changing your camber, changing your stabilizer linkages, and even the stabilizer rod. At times, the rubbers there may be bad, or because of bad road, it may bend or it may even break. So it's all part of unscheduled maintenance. When it wants to break or it breaks, you will not announce first and you will not know. All you know is that it has gotten bad and you have to work on it. Then we talk of ball joints for the front tires. We talk of tightening your bolts, your nuts on the vehicle chassis and some other places. You also talk of lubricating your propeller shaft, then checking your axle oil, A lot of people do not know that the axles in their vehicle has oils in them, and those oil need to be checked. Whether you're using a back wheel drive or a front wheel drive, just that for front wheel drive, the mechanism is different from the back wheel drive. So the back wheel drive requires you checking your oil more, especially if you're driving and hearing kind of a grinding sound at the back. Know that likely your back axle oil needs to be changed. And then other things is changing your fuel pump, changing or servicing your fuel line, then changing or servicing your steering pump. Though some newer vehicles now do not have a separate steering pump where oil is stored. Some in the steering rack or the steering component, everything is embedded in there. So when that steering rack or something goes bad, you just have to change it. But if your vehicle has a separate pump for your steering, from time to time you need to remove that oil, put in fresh oil that will keep it lubricated. And then if there are further things, anyway, I'll have to discuss this steering pump issue on another video. Then you also have to check your or service your emergency brake, and what people popularly call as a handbrake. It requires to be checked and serviced. And then you also need to check your um, timing belt or timing chain, depending on the one your vehicle is using. So these are some of the things that we do have to work on when it comes to unscheduled maintenance. And these are basically things we can actually also inspect physically with our eyes. When we get to our mechanic, they can check them for us. There are some other things that the mechanics may not necessarily see physically, and those are the things that you can use the OBD2 scanner to check. OBD is onboard diagnostic scanner. Eh, Why that too is the second phase of OBD. The initial phase of OBDs were OBD1, which were for vehicles from late 80s into the 90s, like 95. Yes, vehicles from 80s to 95 were the ones that uses the OBD1 scanner. The vehicles from 96 to date uses the OBD2 scanners. So if you go for your regular scheduled maintenance and your mechanic has the such, can scan your vehicle and know some of those things that he cannot see with his physical eyes to see the ones that can be changed. These are basically the unscheduled maintenances that we do on our vehicles. Now on my next video, I'm going to break them down, these things that I've mentioned earlier, so that we can actually see how to check them and what to look out for when probably the mechanic is trying to fix those things. Because if we don't look out for some of these things, it will be it will warrant us having further issues. Let me take the brake for instance. Let me talk about the brake. You go to change your brake pad, and then when they are changing it, the mechanic did not take notes or you did not remember to look out. The brakes are meant to wear evenly, and if one is to wear out more than the other, the difference will not be much. But if you go to change your brake pad and you find out that your brake pad, one wore more than the other by a very great margin, then there is a problem. It means that the brake system or the brake pad calipers are not moving the way it's supposed to be. So you need to service it. You inform your mechanic to service. So if in case you're giving your mechanic your vehicle to change the brakes and you're not there, remember to tell him to check if the brake pads wore evenly, both front and back. If your vehicle is equipped with brake pads front and back, when they are changing it, look out for that. If your vehicle has brake pad in front and then drum at the back, even when you're changing your um, the brake at the back, which is the brake drum system at the back, also ask the mechanic to look out if the two sides wore out evenly. If one wears out more than the other with a very great margin, know that something is wrong with your brake system. It's either the brake fluid is not flowing properly there, or that the brake system needs to be serviced and lubricated so that it will move properly, and then it would help you, because when it is not wearing evenly, it means that the brake is not, you know, um, is not effective. And then some vehicles, when they are moving, when you match brake, especially on speed, you realize that one tire, seizes and is screeching, whereas the other tires are gradually moving. Know that something is wrong. That person's brake is bad. Means that the caliper or the brake system on that particular tire is not moving the way it's seizing. That is why only one tire is, seizing, while the other ones are stopping the normal way. So if in case you notice that in your vehicle, go and service your brakes. And then another thing we do neglect is our handbrake or emergency brake. That brake is very, very key. Some will tell you, it's not important, just put it on park or one, the vehicle will stay. No, make sure if yours is not working, try and get it fixed. And then when you get it fixed too, it requires servicing, because from time to time rust may affect it, especially if your vehicle is equipped with pad at the back. It means that it's only used when you pull this emergency brake up, whereas your pad handles your normal daily braking. But if your vehicle is using drum at the back, both the handbrake and the regular brake uses the same system, so yours may not have much issue. But if your vehicle is equipped with brake pad at the back, that means there's a small drum inside, and that is what controls your emergency or handbrake. So you also need to get it serviced from time to time. Let your mechanic open it, oil it, check the lining on the brake to be sure that it's also wearing evenly. If it is not wearing evenly, let him service it. Check the cables, maybe do adjustment or something. Those on vehicles does not really use direct cable. It has a kind of electronic system to do that. I've noticed that in one Renault like that, or what we popularly call Renault, but I think the correct pronunciation is Renault. And so if yours, whatever system yours is using, just make sure that when you're changing your brake pads, also let it be checked, especially if your vehicle is using brake pad at the back, means that the brake drum is separate and it uses just your handbrake. So these are the key things we need to look out for when it comes to changing our brakes, which is related to unscheduled maintenance. I'm going to talk about the other things I mentioned earlier as to unscheduled maintenance on my next video. That's why I say that this maintenance video is to come in a form of series. I encourage you to follow up, subscribe, so that you can actually know when I post the other things we need to check out for when it comes to unscheduled maintenance. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate all those who have been following up. Subscribe, comment and like, and then recommend the video to others. I believe someone out there may be needing some of this information. See you on my next video. Thank you for watching.